get started. And welcome to another episode of NADI Digital Economy Malaysia. We're going to get right into it. And when I say we, that is, of course, me and my colleague Dzof Azmi. We're going to start the first story with a big announcement out from, the World Expo is going on, the World Expo 2020, which is happening in 2021 and now into 2022 because of you-know-who, Mr. C. In Dubai now, the government has, and especially the Minister of Communication Multimedia, Anwar Musa, has announced a rebranding of MSC Malaysia, and it is now going to be called Malaysia Digital. And they say they're also going to enhance some of the incentives and benefits. And very important, they've also announced two new flagships, right? Which I consider to be quite light. One of them especially is super light. And this is the one that they're calling it DE Rantau. Of course, now you want to use you don't want to use an English word, which is Nomad. You're using the Bahasa Malaysia word, which is Rantau. But it is basically a nomad. We're going to now attracting nomad entrepreneurs. And you know that in the technology space, there are many entrepreneurs who do not want to be restricted by time, by geographic location, by national boundaries. They say the internet is borderless, boundaryless, permissionless. Why should I be restricted by this? And these, out-of-the-box thinkers are also, by the way, when they're successful, they are bosses, they are employees, they are the main decision makers. So while they're in this exploratory space and they do not want to be bounded by any, geographic limitations, you want to attract them to your country. And other countries have already done this, right? Indonesia, I think they've obviously Bali is the main location, and Thailand also they've got the same, and other countries around the world. So now we are now getting into the game late, but we are getting into the game. But they're announcing this as a flagship, which bothers me because it's just something that many people are doing already. The only thing I like about this is that it is not bound. They are not limiting it to like 2 or 3 locations in Malaysia, like, Penang, Tioman Island, Pulau Perhentian, Langkawi, or Pangkor. They're not limiting to that. They're saying that basically it sounds like right now, before immigration department, I expect, comes in, they say, hey, wait a minute, we want to have a seat at the table and decide where these people can go. Right now, it seems like open for anywhere in Malaysia, which I like this initiative, but to call it flagship is a real stretch for me. And we're going to the second one, which is the Malaysia Digital Change Program. I know, Dzof, you like this. This is more meaty. And although they're using big words, they say you're going to drive interoperability and greater harmonization of standards and regulatory approaches to facilitate trade within and across borders. This is just a whole lot of bombastic words they probably got from somewhere in true media to make this sound like a meaty initiative. All I had to do before we got on the show was to just type in, Malaysia's top trading partners. And lo and behold, among the top 15 top trading partners of Malaysia, the 5 are already our fellow ASEAN countries. And within ASEAN, there are top 6 trading nations. And among these 5, I'm talking about is Singapore, is Thailand, is Indonesia, is Vietnam, is Philippines. They are already among the top 15. So if you want to announce something like this, I would have liked them to have seen, and Dzof, you mentioned this, that right now, these are still some of the barriers with interoperability and harmonization and, different standards. We are now already engaged in talks to work to overcome this so that trade can be facilitated faster. There was no announcement like that because Dubai is happening now and Malaysia Week is now. Obviously, you have to make some announcement that sound sexy and sound grand. Hence, these 2 announcements, right? But of course, this digital trade has got another advantage that MDEC CEO Mahathir Aziz said that we think that if we're gonna use e-invoicing as the first project within this, flagship. If we introduce a national e-invoicing project together with LHDN and MDEC, we think that the government will at least have an additional 1.2 billion, which is about 300 million US dollar in additional revenue once this e-invoicing in place. But the downside is that when you have to say once e-invoicing is in place, this will take about 3 to 6 years depending on other countries. It's still depending on other countries. So again, to me, this sounds like a very right initiative, just designed to create an impact so that the minister can say, oh, thank goodness I've got something major to announce. Zof, it sounds like I was ranting, and I am because I'm annoyed by it. You please come in and put on a positive view of that you may have, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to say, I'm not sure I'm going to necessarily put a positive view. I'm just going to be asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
Originally, when the MSC project started in 1996, was it 1997, 1996, we started MSC. It was started as Malaysia's attempt to build Silicon Valley, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think so there was the physical aspect to it, which is Cyberjaya and Putrajaya. And then there was the ecosystem aspect to it, which is the whole like e-procurement and, e-government and all that was one attempt at building such an ecosystem. And then you had this, but within ourselves, when we discussed what MSC was about, and the shorthand I used was to say we wanted to drag Malaysia kicking and screaming into the 21st century, right? We wanted to see Malaysian companies start doing things differently. We wanted to see companies doing things in different industries from what they were doing now. And when we started selecting the flagship applications, one of the big things is we wanted to have flagship applications that have a big impact on society, a big impact on the public. So when you say that, I would say DE Rantau would not have been a 1996-97 flagship application, right?
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that. My question then is actually, what is this new replacement? What is Malaysia Digital, right? How is it different from MSC Malaysia, and what is it trying to do? So these, I think, Karam, to be honest, these are all questions that haven't really been answered yet, haven't been talked about yet. I would be really interested to see whether the Rantau program and the trade program, how does it fit, right? There's one thing that Malaysia has always been quite good at is that we've been pretty good at like doing these overall frameworks and how things fit into frameworks. And then the issue has always been execution. We don't execute them very well. Now I don't even see the framework, and then maybe I need to look at the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint that was released in published in February last year.
February 19, last year.
But then I shrunk my shoulders again. Surely at that time, in February 19th, you weren't thinking of getting rid of MSC and turning it into the Digital Malaysia, right? Was that always the plan? No, I don't think so. So there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, exactly.
And how significant this is really at the end of the day, that's the other one.
You need to flesh it out. Yeah, but so this just it is disappointing when you look at that, right?
I will tell you this. I'm in groups with people who are former MDC guys, and nobody in that group understands what's really going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, look, and the Rantau one more thing the minister says, right, is that it will boost digital adoption and promote digital professional mobility and tourism across the country. Come on. Even if you bring in 500 digital nomads, it's not going to boost digital adoption in Malaysia. We're already so highly digitally connected. And it's not going to boost tourism by having 500 people come in. But like I said, because these are 500 interesting people who are potentially going to be entrepreneurs, they are entrepreneurs and founders, and they are the main decision makers. That is the value. And they may decide to set up a company and hire 5-10 people, right? That is the value, not promote tourism across the country. He's just trying to get points. Hey guys, give me some more points to add in. I want to beef this up.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's a good program. It's a good idea to get talent to come and establish themselves in Malaysia.
Yes.
I think I look at it that way. And what they do, well, I hope you encourage things. I mean, because the problem is talent can come here, live cheaply, and then work for companies outside Malaysia.
Oh yeah, of course, it's already happening. Yeah.
So, that would be so great, I would say. So you need to look at that. Shall we move on to the next story, Karan?
Yeah, okay, man. Very good story, man. Very good story. Okay, Zof, take lead with this, bro.
Yeah. So the headline is very, very, very unassuming, right? The headline, SoftSpace enters into strategic partnership investment with JCB, right? And okay, but when you look into the fine detail, Karam, you said my God, it's a $5 million investment
US,
in local
US 5 million.
US dollar investment in a SoftSpace in Berhad. And it is only the first part of the first tranche of funding. So there's more to come.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's amazing, right?
Right. So SoftSpace are in the fintech area.
Yeah.
They work on like payment gateway type solutions. If you want to set up a thing that allows your customers to pay you by credit card, this is what they do. They help
and
you
mobile,
set it up. So
mobile point, a point of sale also. Yeah.
Yes, and mobile point of sales as
They've
well.
gone beyond that also. So they do transportation also. They have a product that is used by at least 1 or 2 countries, right? And they are piloting it in their integrated transportation system. So
Karam, has this company been flying under the radar, and then suddenly Japan recognizes what they are, and then like suddenly put in this money?
No, they already have 2 Japanese investors. Actually, they already have 2 Japanese investors. If you go to DNA, you type in SoftSpace and you do funding, you'll find who the investors are. But look, what I like about this story is this third now Japanese company is coming in. And by the way, JCB is like the largest issuer of credit cards in Japan, right? I think JCB is actually short for Japan Credit Bureau. And they're the largest credit card issuer in Japan. And they are coming in, not just investing money, right? They're also planning to use the technology portfolio of SoftSpace. So here you have a Japanese company planning to use the technology portfolio, right, platform of a Malaysian company. How amazing is that? And if you know Joel, the founder, he's the CEO and founder of SoftSpace, Joel Tay, and also Christopher Leong. They are just low-key people. They just want to get their work done, and they want to deliver value, and they want to over-deliver. So that's just the kind of people they are. And the company also is now built and shaped in their mold. And this is a very good story for Malaysia. Not enough people have carried it. I think they should. Congratulations to them, right? And we hope they move further and become a leading fintech player in Southeast Asia, right? They raise much more money from JCB, who have already given the intention that they plan to. So this is really good lah. So let's move on now. We've got a few more stories to go, and we don't want to rush them, right, Dzof? Every year in December, the Malaysian Venture Capital Association does their annual dinner, and they also have an awards. And of course, this year there was no dinner, and the awards was done in a very SOP-friendly manner. But from the list of awards, and I think we wrote a story recently also that Malaysian Technology Development Corporation had 3 of its companies within its ecosystem that were award winners. And Mavcap now has come out to say that Mavcap was an award winner in one category, right, which was actually funds raised. They raised their Orbit Malaysia fund. They were part of the lead investor in that. But beyond that, there were 6 other companies that were award winners, and Mavcap had a role in them as they were part of the Mavcap ecosystem. You can go to my story and read about it, but basically like the deal of the year, Kasem, the investor in Kasem was actually a company that MDEC, a fund that MDEC invested in. So remember, MDEC is a fund of funders. They will invest into other funds. They won't now directly invest into other companies. They used to do this, but they've changed their model. And they've also then Sunway Group also is a partner with MDEC, and Sunway was appointed as a supportive industry partner. And also Sunway got another award, which was Outstanding Incubator of Co-working Space. And here, this was a Mavcap ecosystem partner with Sunway Group. So Mavcap just basically said, look, we've got all these initiatives, we're partnered with them, and they won an award, but we are part of that. So that's why we did a story to highlight them. But what's very interesting is that there's a very good infographic that you should absolutely check out that goes along with the story. And it talks about what the role Mavcap has played, who are the funds they've invested in, and even the amount of money. And even more interesting is that the number of unicorns that Mavcap has a stake in, right? Because they've given money to a fund, and the fund invested in them. And it's going to blow you away to see how many unicorns that Mavcap / the Malaysian government / the Malaysian public has a stake in. So maybe small stakes, but it shows that they are there. And so that's very interesting. So that's why I wanted to flag this story. So, congratulations to the team from MDEC, the CEO now, Sharil Anas and his team. And I know that if you go to the Mavcap website, somebody went to the website and said, hey, Karam, how come there's only 3 people in the senior leadership team? Apparently, they've already identified a bunch of other people, but they're waiting for the board to give approval before they can make the announcement and add their names to the senior leadership team. If you go now, you'll only see 3 names there. Okay, but maybe now let's move on to another interesting story, right, Dzof?
Yes, just very quickly.
So which I was quite upset about. I was upset with Visa, by the way. Yeah.
But no, the news is generally good. So Visa had done a survey at what they call the Visa Consumer Payment Attitude Study, right? And just to clarify that this is across 8 countries, it was 7,500 people across those 8 countries, including 1,000 consumers in Malaysia. They were restricted to those aged between 18 and 65, and the minimum income cutoff was at 2,000 ringgit. So the news is that what they found out is they say slightly over half, 55% of Malaysian consumers can successfully live for more than a week without using cash. In other words, they make their payments using electronic payments. Now, that in itself is one thing. The other thing is that it represents a 13% increase. And Karam, you said you thought the increase would be more than 13%.
Exactly, because of course, the big increase would have been in 2020, but this is 2021, 13% increase. But I thought it would have been more because look, with all these surveys, the key thing is to look at not the methodology, but the sample size. So there were 1,000 consumers in Malaysia, and the range from 18 to 65. Minimum income was 2,000 ringgit, but the 18 to 65, they didn't give a breakdown. Now, all of us know that if the majority of the 1,000 were people like from the age of 18 to 30, that's absolutely going to skew your results. And you may have said that, hey, Karam, we included other categories also, but maybe 50 people aged 55 to 65, right? Hey, we included people in there, but it's only 50. So, that's the thing about when you want to be clever and you want the results to benefit you and what you're pushing. Of course, Visa is pushing that, with cashless payment, digital payments, hey, you can partner with us because we're the best in the world, right? Forget about all these fintechs. We're the best in the world. And so they want this survey to show that they are also an enabler for all this. So it is sneaky of them, and I wasn't happy with it. But here it is. So we're helping you put context to this survey, but we don't know the breakdown. But again, my point is that the 13% seems very low. I thought it would have been in the high 20 percentiles.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I found interesting, by the way, was that it also reported that 74% of Malaysians surveyed have tried going cashless for over the past year. So, I mean, that's a lot, right? I mean, that's nearly 3/4.
But my issue with that, Dzof, is they said try going cashless. Did they try going cashless for 1 week? I don't know, because so I have so many techs, in our circle, we know so many tech people and hardcore tech people. I bet you if I send a WhatsApp out and I added 15 of them in a group and I said, over the past 1 year, if any of you tried for 1 week, I bet you 0 would have said yes. It's probably meant that people tried using digital, but they make it seem like they've tried going digital for 1 week or cashless for 1 week, right? I don't think that's what it is. Of course,
I can't go cashless because 2 nasi lemak shops and 1 apam balik shop doesn't accept QR code or digital payment. So yes, I can't do that. While these things which I like to eat are not there, but when they are, then maybe we're
out of time already. There were many more stories, but these we feel are probably the top 4 most interesting stories of this week, which again shows you that our digital economy is progressing along nicely at a good, healthy clip. With that, we'll see you again next week, and hopefully with a few more interesting stories, and hopefully none of them they get me riled up like the MSC, Malaysia Enhanced to Malaysia Digital did. I got to slow down and calm down. Okay, we'll see you again next week.